Hi guys, happy Thursday. It's math time. We are doing more line plots. And I'm going to lead you through creating line plots again today. I feel like we just need a little bit more time, and I want to be sure that I didn't confuse you with the last lesson because the fractions, woo, I'm knocking my markers over, guys. The fractions can be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to model it a little bit differently today, and then you're going to create two line plots on your own. Yours won't have fractions in them, but it'll still be good practice, and just be sure you're understanding what I'm showing you here, and if not, let us know, okay? So today, you guys get two activating strategies, because I know how much we love estimation 180, and I'd already put one of those in, and then I found another would you rather that I thought was really fun, and it's going to make you do a little work, so I like that too. So go ahead and do your estimation 180. Be sure you write down estimates that are way too low, way too high, and then could be right. So do your estimation 180, then come back and I'll tell you about the next activating strategy, okay? So pause this, go estimate, and come right back. Okay, so for today's Would You Rather, you are going to have to figure this out and tell us which thing you would rather have. Now, there's not a right or wrong answer, but we would like to know why you chose the choice that you did, okay? And you can just type all of this into your Google Doc under Math for Thursday. So, would you rather earn $1 for every foot in 1 mile? You might have to go back to our measurement slides to figure out that number if you can't remember, but it is in our slides under your math content. Or would you rather earn $1 for every day you've been alive? That's some cool multiplication you're going to have to figure out. So maybe you want the most money, maybe you want the least money. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to figure out and see which one I would rather do. So solve that, type which one you'd rather do in your Google Doc, and then come back for today's math lesson. So pause the video, go do some multiplication, and come right back. Okay. So, Jacob is preparing for field day. I've moved on to our mini lesson slide, and this is perfect because you guys are going to be doing virtual field day tomorrow. Mr. Banks has sent out all that awesome information, so we can't wait to see pictures of you guys enjoying that stuff with your family on Friday. Okay, so he is recording the measurements for his long jumps, okay? His long jump measurements are listed below. They're listed on your slide, and I've already got them up here on the poster. I'm going to show you in just a second. So we see 3 feet, we see 3 3/4 feet, we see 3.5 feet, 4 feet, 3 1/8 feet, 3 3/4, 3 1/4, 3.5, 3 3/4, and 3 1/4. So I want to just think about these numbers for a minute before I start putting them onto the line plot. We have some whole numbers and we have some mixed numbers. Remember, a whole number and a fraction together. And if I look at the fractions, I'm noticing the same thing we saw the other day is that the denominators are different, okay? But we can still put them on the same line plot because we can easily convert between these fractions. Eighths, halves, and fourths. We can find equivalent fractions pretty easily. So I went ahead and put them on the line plot for you today, and I want to explain it in a little bit of a different way. Let me make that, maybe you can see it a little bit better. I'm hoping that this will help it be less confusing if you got confused on Monday. So I'm going to show you this. Move my chair out of the way. Okay, so what I did is I thought about, get on this side, the smallest point that I need to have on my line plot and the biggest point. And the data that we have tells you what those numbers should be. So when I looked at this, the lowest number I saw was 3. So I made that the starting point. The highest number I saw was 4. So I made that the end point. So every data point on this line plot is going to be between the numbers 3 and 4. Okay? Now, I did this a little differently today, and I'm hoping this might be easier for you to understand. So what I did is I marked eighths on the line plot, okay? I labeled my 3.5 and my fourths. So 3 1/4, 3 3/4, okay? So 3, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 3 3/4, 4. Now these in between are our eighths. So I'm going to show you how I would count if I was counting in eighths, okay? So this would be 3 1/8, 3 and 2/8, which is the same as 3 and 1/4, 3 and 3/8, 3 and 4/8, which is the same as 3 and 1/2, 3 and 5/8, 3 and 6/8, which is the same as 3 and 3/4, 3 and 7/8, 4, or 3 and 8/8, okay? So I thought maybe laying it out like that for you might make this a little bit easier, okay? So that you don't get too thrown off by those different denominators. So we just have to think of the fractions in different ways. This could be 2/8, could be 1/4, 4/8, 1/2, 6/8, 3/4, okay? So now I'm just going to start putting my data onto my line plot. So I have a 3, so I'm going to put 1x there, and I'm going to mark this out just so I know that I've already put it on my line plot. 3 and 3/4, put an x above that, mark it out. 3 and 1/2, mark it out. 4, okay, 3 and 1/8, remember that's right here. And if you wanted to label those, you could. If that helps you, that's certainly a good idea if you want to. Okay, 3 and 3/4, I have another one there. 3 and 1/4 goes here, mark it out. 3 and 1/2, we have another x for 3 and 1/2, I'm going to mark it out. I have 3 and 3/4 and 3 and 1/4. Okay? Now, I like to go ahead and count my x's and be sure I have the same number of x's as I do numbers, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that helps me just to know that I got all of my data points onto my number line, okay? Now, next week we're going to use number lines to solve problems. And we can start looking and going ahead and seeing information. Like we can see that this was the most. He jumped this far the most times. This was the furthest he jumped, and he only did that one time. This was the shortest he jumped. He only did that one time, okay? So start thinking about what these data points mean as you place them on your line plot. Okay, so let's look at the next slide. Kate is measuring the heights of 10 flowers she had growing in her garden, and the measurements of those flowers are listed on the slide. And I put them up here. So they're already up here, and I did the line plot the same way, and I'll show you that again in just a second. So I have 1/8, 1/4, 3/4, 1/8, 1/2, 3/8, 1/4, 1, 3/4, and 1/4, okay? So I can see that I have different denominators, but I also see that it's halves, fours, and eighths, which now that we think about it like this is not that hard to work with. So again, I thought about the lowest number and the highest number. And I saw that 1 is the highest number in this group of data. So I went ahead and put that over here. That's my high side. And I just went ahead and made 0 my low side because all of these fractions are between 0 and 1. Okay, so then I split up my number line, or my line plot the same way I did up here. I marked the half, I marked the fourth, and I marked the 3/4. Now I have my eighths in here as well. So again, this is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8. So 8/8 is the same as 1, 6/8 is the same as 3/4, 4/8 is the same as 1/2, and 2/8 is the same as 1/4. Okay, so now all I have to do is add these data points to my line plot. Okay, so I have 1/8, and again, if you like to number those, label those to help you, that is fine. Cross it out. 1/4. Cross it out. 3/4. Cross it out. Another 1/8. 1/2. Oh, look, I'm crossing my things out the wrong direction this time. That's what I get for being left-handed. 3/8. So I want to count my eights. 1, 2, 3. 1/4 again. 1, that's our tallest flower. 3/4 and 1/4. Okay, and again, I'm going to count my x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I hope that this is better for you today and that you understand this. If you don't, or if you're confused, if you're stuck, if you're frustrated, don't stress out. Call us, text us, dojo us. Miss Bella and I are here to help you, and we want to see you be successful with this, and we know you can do it. So for your work today, you're going to go into your math under content. For my kids, cross math. For Miss Bella's kids, I believe she just calls it math. The work is called Line Plot Practice 2, okay? And there's 2 pages in the document. The first one is your data and your instructions. The second page is a blank page divided in half for you to do your line plots at the top and the bottom. Now, if you can print it out and do it on that paper, and then send us a picture. If you can't print it out, just very neatly draw your line plot. You might want to use a ruler to get a straight line. You want to divide it up as close to evenly as you can and do it on paper, okay? Be sure you label it at the bottom of the page. It tells you all the things you need to include. Be sure you include all of those things. It also says you can use dots. Don't use dots. Let's just use X's because I have never seen dots for line plots at school. So let's stick with X's. Use this as a reference. Use your slides if you need to go back to Tuesday slides to see the stuff about line plots. And again, please reach out if you need help. We are here to help you, okay, guys? We will see you real soon. Bye.